channel. This channel is all about cross-stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning subscribers, and this particular episode is filmed on the land of the Thoroughwell people. I'm going to need to get better at pronouncing that that particular word. So I'm up in Wollongong. It's, I guess, still along the east coast of Australia, a couple of hours north of Canberra, where I used to live. I've moved up here for a new job, and this particular room I'm filming in is a bit echoey. So as time goes on, I'll try filming around in some other spots in the unit, and hopefully the echoey sound won't be so bad and the microphone won't pick up on any road noise. So I'm right in the heart of Wollongong in the CBD space, so we'll have to wait and see. So today is Saturday the 29th of October, and we're borderline of being here for nearly a week because we moved in on Monday the 24th, and I've got a bit of time up my sleeve, so I thought that I'd try a bit of filming and share with you some stitching that I've actually surprised myself with how much I've been able to get done, because we've just managed to, I guess, be a lot more organised than I initially thought we were going to be for the move. So it's all going to be good. So the first bit of cross stitch that I'd like to share with you that I've worked on is the Blue Mountains walking trail. So hopefully this doesn't get too glary. So this is available on the Hot Cross Stitching website and fully compatible with Pattern Keeper. And this one, it's going to be a slow progress. So this is roughly where I'm at so far, and I've just been working in this space around here, especially up here as well, just filling in a lot of the gaps that have been quite splattered and patchy. And what I'm trying to do is, I guess, get some of these squares that are evened out and eventually lined up and squared out. So it's going to make it easier for me to line things up and, yeah, I guess feel like I've made a bit more progress with it. And I'm really loving that we're really starting to see the fern leaves, or whichever they're called, that they're really showing up now, and I love the progress this is being made. And I'm using all DMC threads on this. This is, I believe, on 25 count easy grid fabric. So the pink lines that we see here are 20 by 20. So ultimately my aim by sort of lining these up is so that I feel that I've achieved a bit more with my stitching, is that I can hopefully eventually stitch just one square and know that I've done 200 stitches, even though Pattern Keeper is going to track that for me. So that's my goal with that. I'm at the stage with my stitching at the moment where I'm not keeping track of how many stitches I've done on projects per month or anything like that. I just know that with this particular project, it's probably better for me to say that I've perhaps spent 2 hours on it to fill in maybe 100 stitches, because it's got a bit of confetti in it and it's just taking a bit of time to get sorted. But I'm really liking the progress on this one. And by the way, I am doing this 1/1. So one thread over one fabric square. So the next project that I've actually just picked up within the last couple of days of doing, and it's actually been part inspiration from someone who recently posted on the Full Coverage Fanatics website. They shared with us their progress on this particular project called Scaredy Cats. I'm just bringing up the cover page here. So this one's a Heaven and Earth design by Jeff Haney. and I am up in the top left corner. And I initially started out doing this particular project 2/1, and I just found it being a bit too bulky. And so I phased it out into doing just 1/1 on the 28 count. So this is where I'm at the moment, and I know that I've put roughly 400, maybe four to 600 stitches, and that is a pretty large gap in terms of the difference between 400 and 600 stitches. But I've come down here a bit and filled in some spots up here, and the camera isn't quite doing it justice in terms of what I have done. It's looking quite grainy and patchy, not great. So I put a pause on Scaredy Cats for a little while because where I'm stitching it, I've just kept comparing it to the cover page and going, oh, is this going to get any better? Is it going to be all right? But after someone in Full Coverage Fanatics had posted a picture of their progress, because I think they were saying in the caption that they've completed about 55% of it, and it's looking fantastic. So it's given me that motivation and reassurance, seeing their post and the picture that it's going to get better, that the picture is going to look better as time goes on, and that it's just the background just looking a little bit different to what I had initially hoped it would be. But I do love the Scaredy Cats by Heaven and Earth design. So I'm definitely using called for fabric, called for colours and that kind of thing. Stitching it 1/1. I believe that this is the linen that I'm using, so I'm finding that I need to be a bit careful and a bit more gentle in terms of how I do my stitches, because I have a tendency to pull a bit too hard, and it then has my stitches slipping a little bit where they don't look like a nice and neat. And I'm not normally particular about my stitches sitting unevenly or anything like that, but it's a bit more obvious on that kind of fabric, and that's where I'm being just a little bit more gentle and careful with it. And the next project I have to share with you is Dewdrop Daisy. So I'll just bring up the cover page for that. And the really cool thing with Dewdrop Daisy is it's been my focus piece for most of October. So this is Dewdrop Daisy, and sorry, it's coming up beautifully. It really is. So if you've been with me for a while, you'll know that it's, well, hopefully you'll be able to see a bit more of a difference with what I've done. I'm getting closer to 60% completion with this. And I do apologise, I have not packed my iron or ironing board with me. So it is looking quite creased and crumpled. I did post on Instagram when I completed one of the petals towards the start of October. So to put into perspective, I need to widen this out just a smidgen. Okay, so the pattern, the project, so the petal. Let's see how we go. So this petal here, where you might see my fingers flittering around, I completed that petal and posted a picture on Instagram near the start of October, if not towards the end of September. And since then, you can see that I've completed, almost completed another petal, and I'm making a start on yet another one just to really bring it around. And it is something that I do love looking at, and I will eventually get this one framed. And the question is where I'm going to hang it, because I do want to admire it. I do want to have it in public view, in the sense that like sitting in our living room or lounge room or whatever kind of space, rather than it being squirreled away in my bedroom or in my office space or anything like that. And The good thing is I've got plenty of time to figure this one out in terms of where it will be framed and that kind of thing, and where I'll hang it up, because we are in a rental at the moment, so I've got to be careful about how I do the changes and I guess hanging things up, because even though I know we've got we can use like special sticky tabs to hang things up, they don't always come off smoothly because I've used them at home and they've taken paint off. So I've got to be careful. That said, everything will be all right, everything will be fine, because at the moment, this is about the enjoyment of stitching it, and I am enjoying it. And so this is available on the Hot Cross Stitching website. It's available on Pattern Keeper, and I'm stitching this 2/2 using all DMC threads. And this is on, I think this is 28 count linen. It's looking small enough for it, and it is looking really, really good. It is looking really good. And the last project I have to share with you is a Heaven and Earth design that I actually haven't stitched on for quite a while. I started it, I think, a couple of years ago for my sister with the intention of thinking, oh yeah, I'll get it done in a year. I think it's about 4 years later, I've got maybe 3 pages completed out of the entire pattern. And it's been slow progress. So this is the Moonlit Waters Max Colours. So the artwork is by Julie Fain, part of Heaven and Earth Designs. And I actually initially purchased this many years ago as a paper pattern, well before I knew about Pattern Keeper or anything like that. And so for the first 3 pages, I had stitched it using using the physical pattern. And then I found out about Pattern Keeper, and I decided to purchase this project as a digital edition, because it was just going to be 10 times easier to pay for the digital pattern and get it into Pattern Keeper than faff around with the technology that I had at the time to get it scanned and put in. And so I've been focusing quite a lot on just filling in the space here, and then filling in the edges of the moon here. So this has been one of my other focus pieces over the last few days, and it's filling in quite nicely. I'm actually really surprised by how well this is showing up on camera. And when I purchased this as a digital pattern, the good thing and the bad thing that I hadn't realized until I started stitching it. The good thing is that it's included a lot of the new DMC colors, like the new ones that I guess have been around for a couple of years now, where it starts at number 1 right through to the 30 somethings or 40 somethings. And so that actually threw me out of balance a little bit for the symbols and what threads to use, and that, like, I definitely have the newer colors for DMC. So that wasn't a problem. It was just trying to get my head around how to incorporate those new colors into this project, and it's worked out okay. And I've already done, like when I was using the physical pattern, I'd already done so much fudging for these 3 pages that I can't really even tell where I've fudged it now in terms of stitching colours where I've crossed out in the pattern but hadn't stitched, or vice versa. And so I've made it up a little bit as I've gone for the things that I needed to fix up. But yeah, I've got the itch for this one. And that's it for the stitching that I've done over the last month or so, last few weeks. And I guess I was thinking recently, as part of me pottering around doing lots of stuff, to try and get this apartment being a little bit more homey and that kind of thing, that I haven't actually done a new start for a while, or what feels like a new start. I have done, I guess, earlier this year, like a little bookmark to do with the football stitching challenge that I did, but nothing else really. And I guess I've not had the inclination to want to start something new, even though every month we have a new moon in astrology and physically, whatever. So I know that sometimes I've heard in the cross stitch world, new moon, new start. And we had a new moon on Monday, the 24th, 24th? 25th. I'm getting my days confused. I've had a week off work. And I guess I haven't really had that itch or feeling to do a new start. And then I'm looking at my fabric that I've got down on the floor at the moment, and it's got me sort of thinking or remembering what fabric I do have, and then thinking about some of the designs and such that I've either designed myself or that I've patterns that I've purchased in recent years, and I keep saying, oh yeah, I'll do that pattern on or that project on this fabric, and I just haven't quite gotten around to it. So yeah, I guess to some extent, if I'm not feeling it, then what's the point in starting a new one? But then I'm also thinking, well, maybe if I do another new start, I can maybe incorporate it into my rotation and keep things interesting in terms of sharing some things with you. So I'll definitely mull over it a little bit more, see how we go. Otherwise, that's sort of it that I've got for cross stitch for a bit. I've definitely been doing things in the background to start progressing a little bit more for my side hustle. That's going to take just a little bit. I'm testing the waters for a couple of patterns being physical prints, in the sense that, or physical patterns. So I'm testing the waters, and when they arrive in the mail, I'll hopefully be able to share with you as to how they're looking. I think the main thing is just figuring out if it will work or not. I'm not making much sense at the moment. It'll be a lot clearer when the stuff arrives in the mail, hopefully early next week. So that's it for cross stitch stuff. So I've got a little bit of life stuff that I'd like to share with you. If you don't want to hang around for much life stuff, that's totally cool. That's no worries. I hope to see you again, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. And if you do like what you see and what you've heard so far, and you want to hopefully see a little bit more as time goes on, make sure you click on that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and ring the bell so that way you get notifications as time comes through for any other notifications of things that I've posted. So if you're not wanting to hear about life stuff, I'll say goodbye now. But if you would like to hear about some life stuff of what's going on, let's kick into it. So the move went as smoothly as it could. We've had just a few minor stresses, but considering how stressful a move can be, I feel really lucky with how things went. The weather was raining. It was raining, but it could be a lot worse. It was raining here in Wollongong. The removalists that we had to uplift half of our house were absolutely fantastic. They got to our place in Canberra probably a fraction after 7 in the morning, and got our furniture here to Wollongong and unloaded to the unit. I think by about 1:45, if not 1:50, and that was ideal because we had a really tight window between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for the lift, or one of the lifts in the building, to be locked off, so it was just us and the removalist to use, and so that will just go to the floor that we're on, and nothing was damaged in the move, because I've heard that sometimes those things can happen. We did drive one of our cars up and we took some things with us that we didn't want in the truck, just to keep those things safe and secure, to be sure that they weren't going to get damaged. And if they did, then we knew that it'd be us. That was the way that we moved it. So for most of this week, I guess from Tuesday through to yesterday, I've been doing lots of walking around between our unit and the shopping centre at Wollongong, just to pick up some stuff that we didn't bring with us from home and we've needed, or groceries and that kind of stuff. And it's turning out really well. I feel very blessed and lucky that we are where we are. So we're up on the 12th floor. There's 14 floors, and our unit, we get to have ocean views in one direction, and then we can sort of look a little bit to the north and the west to see some mountains and units and that kind of thing. I have lived in a couple of units before, and they've been older buildings, and so sometimes you can hear people above you or below you or next to you if you're sharing those kinds of walls, and hear the neighbours. But here, this building is only 6 years old, and the only times that we really do hear anyone is if people are in the hallway going to their units, coming out of the units to go to the lifts. And that's the other thing that I feel very lucky for. Our building has a lift to get in and out of the building and such. So that's something I'm really thankful for, to not have to worry about going up and down the stairs with groceries and everything else, because I've been there, done that, and it's not an easy, fun thing, but you get things done. That said, the funny thing is I think it must have been Tuesday night. My boyfriend had gone to the shops just after dinner to get some things, and so I thought, okay, I want to start winding down, get ready for bed. So I was having a shower, and thankfully wasn't half sudsed up for shampoo or anything, but the fire alarm went off, and I was like, crap, okay, maybe I'm just hearing, or I can't quite hear things when it's fire alarms because of how loud they can be. It's like, no, this is definitely serious going on. Short story, everything's fine. Building was not burning down. There was something else going on, that like some dust or something had set off the alarm, that was completely separate to the apartments. It was just connected to the fire. But or not fire, it was just connected to the fire alarms and the dust, some work that was going on by some workmen somewhere completely separate. So the good thing is I got out of the building safely through the fire escape, and my boyfriend just gotten back from getting things from the shops, and thankfully we're only standing outside for maybe 10 minutes or so, and the fire truck was able to turn off the alarms and that kind of thing, and say that it was safe for us to get back inside. But yeah, it definitely had me a little bit jumpy and shaky legs for a little bit. I guess the other thing we're needing to get used to and feeling a bit tired for is we're used to living in the suburbs, where we do have some road noise, but nothing too bad, where it's usually pretty quiet after a bit of time. But here in the city, it is so much noisier, and it's something that we're not used to, and it's a first world problem, very much a first world problem, of getting used to road noise and living within the CBD of anywhere. And Friday nights, It's something we'll definitely need to get used to. We'll get earplugs, some better quality earplugs or something, to block out that noise, because at least here in Wollongong, I'm sure it happens in other cities as well. The young people with, or younger people with, the cars that they have a lot of pride in, they like to do laps. They just drive around the block or whatever, rev their engines, do whatever they want to do to, show how amazing their vehicles are, or how they believe they're awesome. So is that noise, and just echoes, because there are quite a few other units around, or unit complexes around, so it's that noise that just echoes up. And that's something that we'll just get used to. And I find fascinating that if we've got windows open to get airflow through, that, the sound that here in Australia our pedestrian crossings make, like if you're at the traffic lights and you press the button to say, hey, you want to cross the road, it makes this particular, idle sound, and it then makes a faster beeping sound when you're allowed to cross the road. And we can hear that from up here sometimes, which I find fascinating and find entertaining. I find it funny, just to be able to hear that sound, even though we're 12 floors up. But it is a beautiful place. It really is. It's so much nice. It's just so nice to be here in, Wollongong. My boyfriend, he went for a walk recently, like in the last day or two, and he saw this big pot of dolphins. He reckons there must have been about 40 of them, and there must have been a school of fish that they were feeding on. And just to see so many dolphins was just amazing. It was so cool, because whenever we've gone to the coast of Moonlit Bay, we are hard pressed to see one, if not two dolphins. It's been a long time since we have, but to see a pod of them, and to even see some of them catching the waves a bit and doing their thing, that had been just so cool and awesome. That had been amazing. So as time goes on, we're hoping to eventually see the whales doing their migration back south again, or even over the years doing their migrations between north and south, and, between the warmer and cooler waters, and just seeing what life is like around here, and getting used to stuff. So yeah, I'll be starting my new job on Monday, and the longest part of my commute is either catching the lift down to get out of this building, or crossing the main street, which is a couple hundred meters away. And I'll be at work in 5 minutes, which I feel like I need to pinch myself for it. I feel very lucky for that, where I can just walk to get to work. I don't need to worry about, being in the car or anything like that. So that's about it. I will hopefully see you all in a couple of weeks' time, and I'll be able to share with you a bit more, progress on the projects I've been working on. And, until then, happy stitching, and I'll see you all later.